from along the banks of the Hudson, a festive spirit fills the air. It's a holiday classic. The New York Jets host the Los Angeles Rams. A big crowd at the New Jersey Meadowlands as the Los Angeles Rams take on the New York Jets in a big one. And here's what's at stake. In the NFC West, the Rams have a 1.5 game lead over the 49ers, who will play tomorrow night. And in the AFC East, the Jets' lead now is cut to 1 game over New England, and the Patriots are playing at New Orleans this afternoon. Good afternoon again, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton, and there may not be any team with a better record than the New York Jets in the National Football League, but there is a lot of uneasiness in the Jets camp, rightfully so. They were beaten badly by Miami on Monday night, 45-3, and the concern not so much on the offense, but on the defense. And my partner is Dan Dierdorf, and that's rightly so for the Jets.
As well it should be, Dick, because they're missing their 4 best defensive ball players. Take Mel, Gastineau, Klecko, and Lyons. You're missing the best part of your defense. Miami discovered that. They shredded the Jets on Monday night, and look who's coming to town, the league's best runner in Eric Dickerson. Look for the Jets to play some different defenses today, a 4-man line. Somehow they have to stop Dickerson.
And of course, Dan, the Rams have always been a one-dimensional club with Dickerson in the running game, but John Robinson told us something yesterday that was really a departure for him in the club.
Because they have someone new, someone different, and someone very good, and he is quarterback Jim Everett. What has happened before is if teams have stacked the line of scrimmage, if they put 8 guys up there, Robinson has had no choice but to repeatedly send Eric Dickerson into the line. If that happens today, he's told us he's prepared to have quarterback Everett throw the ball as many as 40 times. He may well have to.
And that would be a departure, Dan. And we have a glorious afternoon for football. A perfect day, not a cloud in the sky, temperature at 46 degrees. And we do have a wind that could be a factor. As Mike Lansford gets set to kick off, the Jets have won the toss and will receive. Bobby Humphrey and JoJo Townsell are deep. Townsell on the right. And the ball kicked on the ground and picked up by Townsell inside the 10. And Townsell is upended at the 22-yard line, where the Jets will go on offense 1st and 10. Mickey Sutton on the tackle. Ken O'Brien, the quarterback for the Jets, and what a marvelous job he has done, and he'll face this defense of Doug Reed, Sean Miller, and Reggie Doss up front for the Rams. Their linebackers are Mel Owens, Mark Giroux, Carl Eckert, and Mike Wiltshire. The secondary, Jerry Gray and Leroy Irvin. The corners, Nolan Cromwell and Vince Newsom at safety. 1st and 10 at the 22. In motion is Mickey Schuler, the tight end. Out of the backfield, Freeman McNeil drops the ball. The rest of the Jet offense, including McNeil, he's teamed in the backfield with Tony Page. Great receivers in Al Toon and Wesley Walker. The offensive line, Guy Bingham is starting for Ted Banker at left guard. Sweeney, Fields, Alexander, and King the rest, and Schuler the tight end. Ken O'Brien on 2nd and 10, and the whistles blow before the play, and a penalty marker is down. Gene Barth is our referee.
64 offense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
And it was Guy Bingham who's filling in at left guard.
Guy Bingham filling in. Ted Banker, who has a concussion, was not able. He's at the left guard position clearly. It's nice to get a head start when you've got to get out in front of the play, but you can't quite be that obvious. Not a very good way for the Jets to start off the ball game. A drop pass on a screen to McNeil. He would have picked up some positive yardage. Now they go 5 yards backward.
It's 2nd down and 15. Johnny Hector is in the game, and the pass is nearly picked off by Leroy Irvin, and he would have been long gone. So the troublesome start by the Jets continues.
That would have been an even worse way to start a ball game. Down by a touchdown. Let's look at it from behind. Just simply a 5-yard out pattern. But Irvin anticipates the ball. And right off of his hands. Boy, that would have been an easy one. You can't afford to not capitalize on that type of a situation. The Jets shaky, to say the least.
Al Toon was the intended receiver. It's now 3rd and 15. Freeman McNeil is stopped cold by Carl Eckert. And the crowd doesn't take long to get the boos out of their system as the Jets will have to punt on 4th down.
You know, granted, they didn't play well on Monday night, and granted, again, this is not a very good start, but this is still a 10-2 football team, a division leader. That's a pretty quick turnaround for a crowd, a home crowd.
And Dave Jennings will be kicking to Henry Ellard, and Jennings will be kicking from inside his 5. And now the Jets will have to go on defense, which has been their trouble spot. Just shy of midfield, and so the Rams, following the 35-yard kick by Dave Jennings, will go on offense. How close did they come to blocking it?
Well, the penetration was up the middle, come from the right side of the screen. Let's take a look at it right inside. That is awful close. Looked like the intended block was to the left of the kicker. That's why he missed it.
And Dan, you talked about the 4-man front for the Jets defensively, and Jim Stuckey, number 71, former San Francisco 49er, is in there now. 1st and 10 at the 49 for the Rams. Eric Dickerson. No gain on the play. So the 4-3 start. Charles Jackson on the tackle.
Keep in mind that the Jets are normally a 3-man line, and it would be these 3 linemen right here. The addition comes in the form of Jim Stuckey right here, but the play from the outside is going to be made by Jackson. They were shredded for 189 yards by Miami in their poor running attack. They can't allow that to happen today, and that's why they go to the adjustment to the 4-man defensive line, Jim Stuckey being the 4th lineman in the ballgame.
So Jim Everett, who's making his 2nd NFL start, has a 2nd and 11 on his 48-yard line. He has time, good coverage by the Jets, and throws the ball away. And a penalty marker is down, and there was no receiver anywhere near where he threw the ball. And while we wait for the penalty, we'll bring you up to date on the Jets defense. Ineligible receiver downfield.
The pass protection was simply superb that time. Jim Everett having lots of time, but let's get the call from Gene Barth.
Number 56, offense, ineligible downfield, illegally, penalty refused, 3rd down.
That can often happen when a play takes that long to develop, Dick.
So the 4-man front, Ben Rudolph, Tom Baldwin, Barry Bennett, and Jim Stuckey, unusual names considering the men they're missing. Charles Jackson, Kyle Clifton, and Bob Crable, the 3 linebackers. Jerry Holmes and Russell Carter at cornerback. Lester Lyles and Harry Hamilton at safety. 3rd down and 11 at the 48-yard line. For Everett, playing his first road game since joining the Rams. Everett under pressure. And this pass is intercepted by Johnny Lynn. Johnny Lynn with his 5th interception of the season. And that was a dying quail thrown by Jim Everett. The Jets will take over on offense.
Jim Everett told us that he moves well in the pocket. That he did. What he also told us is he lacks the game experience. It was brought to the forefront there. A pass he should have never attempted to throw. It slips off his hands. An easy interception for Johnny Lynn.
Jets 1st and 10 on their 34-yard line. Rocky Cleaver in motion. Freeman McNeil crosses the 35-yard line. McNeil, getting ready for the playoffs, has averaged nearly 20 carries a game in his last 5 contests, and they want to get him ready. He was out for 4 games with a dislocated elbow. Doug Reed on the stop.
Let's talk a little bit about squandered opportunities. Who has squandered opportunities? Right now, it's the Los Angeles Rams. Leroy Irvin drops an interception that would have been a touchdown. They get to start offensively for the first time at midfield. They do nothing with it.
2nd and 8 at the 36. McNeil has blockers in front. Jim Sweeney and Carl Eckern comes in. One of the better pursuit teams on defense are the Rams with their linebackers. And it was Eckern on that play. He calls the defensive signals. Joe Walton, the coach of the Jets.
You would think that Joe Walton has to feel a little harried right now with the New England Patriots. Their lead cut to 1, and John Robinson, well, he just never appears to be rattled. Maybe the coolest coach on the sidelines in the NFL.
Kurt Sohn, number 87, is in as a third wide receiver. The pass swung out to McNeil, and McNeil gets to the 40. He'll be shy of a first down by 5 yards. And on 4th down, Jennings will come in and kick again. So the Jets do not do anything with that advantage with the interception by Johnny Lynn. Mike Wiltshire and Vince Newsom combined to make the stop. And here's Jennings. Ellert going back.
What they did was pick up about 20 yards in field position. They never got beyond their own 20 last time. Now at least they're punting from their own 40.
Jets start of 10-2 is still their best in history. Give you a prize to the Patriots sing scheme underway. The ball bounces at the 39 and will go out of bounds. So the Rams will handle the ball for the second time in this first quarter. 10 minutes and 55 seconds remain. Still no score.
A century ago, the founders of Mercedes-Benz created the world's first automobiles. Over the years, their mastery of technology and intolerance for mediocrity inspired countless automotive legends. Now, as Mercedes-Benz enters its second century, the technology has changed, yet the passion for perfection remains, creating Mercedes-Benz for 1987, legends for the second century.
Watch closely. You're looking at America's 2 leading premium beers. Because Miller High Life comes in a clear bottle, you probably think it's the lighter of the 2. But life is full of surprises. You see, Miller High Life is brewed darker from this special and expensive roasted malt. Pour them for yourself. See the difference roasted malt can make. Then compare the taste, and you just might find out what a beer made the American way is all about. Miller High Life.
So the issue is clear. Sony Video 8, the system of the future, or VHS-C, the compromise of the past. Now, as we've seen, the new Sony Handycam with autofocus and zoom gives you a measurably better picture, far superior sound, twice the recording time, and on Sony video cassettes, your memories are safe. While on VHS-C, they could be fleeting. I rest my case.
The Sony Video 8 system. Judge for yourself.
Well, following a 23-yard punt by Dave Jennings, no score in the game. Let's bring you up to date on the Rams offense. Everett, the quarterback, of course. Dickerson teamed with Barry Redden in the backfield. Ron Brown and Henry Eller to the wide receivers. Pankey, Newberry, who's a rookie. Doug Smith, Dennis Hara, and Jackie Slater up front. David Hill, the tight end. And John Robinson said yesterday that we're going to resurrect David Hill, normally a blocker, as a receiver in this game. First down, and it's Dickerson. Dickerson to the 42-yard line. And a good gain on first down.
This time the New York Jets, when they line up defensively, again are in the 4-man line. We can see them here, count them, 4 guys, but still Dickerson's going to get to this side. Let's look at it. The lead block by Redden on number 26, Lester Lyles, when he forces upfield. See Lyles come in? The good lead block by Redden turns him inside out. Dickerson makes the break to the inside.
Bennett and Hamilton on the tackle, gain of 6 at the 42. Once again, Dickerson shy of a first down by about 1.5 yards, and it was Tom Baldwin, the nose tackle, in on the play. 16 NFL teams have rushed for fewer yards than Eric Dickerson this season. And the last time he faced the Jets, he ran 85 yards on the second play for a touchdown.
He has wonderful God-given abilities, but keep in mind he's also running behind one of the best, if not the best, offensive lines in the game. Jackie Slater, Dennis Hara, Doug Smith, a rookie in there, Tom Newberry at left guard, and Irv Pankey, the left tackle. These guys are sensational.
3rd and 1. Double tight end. And jumping was Kevin MacArthur. And if that penalty is against the Jets, it'll be a first down for the Rams.
Defense, number 57, encroachment, 5-yard penalty, and a first down.
And an easy one picked up by L.A., and they're just about at midfield where they had their best chance so far.
You think both these teams are a little tight? I mean, we're in the stretch run. Here we are now in the 13th week of the season. Two heavyweights slugging it out like today. I think we can see some of the early game jitters down on the field with mistakes and penalties.
That's the first down by either team, and it comes by penalty. Ball in midfield. Everett going up on top. And the pass is intercepted by Jerry Holmes, intended for Ron Brown. So Everett has thrown 2 interceptions, and for Holmes his 4th pickoff of the season.
When Everett throws this football, Holmes is still 3 yards downfield of Ron Brown. He throws the ball right here. Why he elected to throw the ball when the defensive man Holmes had excellent position, I don't know. He either misjudged how far he could throw it, or either he misjudged the Holmes speed, or else the speed of Brown. But either way you look at it, the Jets, another interception.
And they'll bring it out on the 2.
The Mercedes-Benz Driving Simulator, a laboratory that moves. Computerized hydraulics producing realistic driving forces. Computerized projectors creating a lifelike driving world. Allowing engineers to analyze the responses of ordinary drivers in extraordinary moments. Duplicating any driving situation in total safety. Mercedes-Benz continues to learn the secrets of automotive science. And the automotive world continues to learn from Mercedes-Benz.
Has he gone? Oh, let's put up the Stanley garage door opener. I can do it myself. It's a Stanley.
Okay, we'll help.
Santa won't have to wrestle with that door. Oh, he's so hard to shop for, so I got him the best Stanley.
Boy, that was easy. He's back. He's back.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
For me? Oh, it's a stampede. Get a second transmitter free when you buy a premium or deluxe Stanley garage door opener.
Watch this. I talk, and my words appear on the screen. This is an experimental IBM computer system. It recognizes thousands of words, even words that sound the same. Please write to Mrs. Wright right now. Another innovation from IBM and the most advanced voice recognition system of its kind, period.
Jim Everett has thrown 3 passes, 2 have been intercepted, and it's still no score with 9:12 remaining. In the NFC West, the 49ers a half a game behind the Rams, and they'll play the Giants tomorrow night in a big game. And in the AFC East, it's a 1-game lead for the Jets. New England underway against New Orleans. The ball is on the 2-yard line, 1st and 10. And a mix-up and a penalty marker down. And the Jets, if you want to talk about teams being a little jittery, appear to be more jittery than the Rams.
False start. The interior line all moved before the snap. Half the distance to the goal line. Still 1st down.
There's an old saying that the center can never be offsides. If you don't snap the ball, that just means that everyone else is offsides. I think that might have been the situation there. Joe Fields, a little late bringing the ball up into play. Joe was hurt earlier in the year, back last week for the first time. I'm sure he's still trying to work some of the kinks out.
1st down and 11. 3 tight ends in there now for the Jets. Freeman McNeil on the counter. Gets it back to the 1-yard line for no gain, and Carl Eckern again is in on the stop. Rams have been outstanding in defending the run, and you talked about their offensive line. Their defense has really also gotten to where they are.
They really have a group of, I hate to use the term no-names because they're good football players, but the Rams over the years have had a lot of Hall of Famers, a lot of storied names playing defense. The Merlin Olsons, the Jack Youngbloods, and that type of player. Up front, they're not there this year.
2nd down and 10 on the 2. Brings it out to the 4, where it'll be 3rd down and long. Mel Owens and Doug Reed on the tackle. No score, 8 minutes and 20 seconds remaining 1st quarter as other scores start to come in around the league and not too many numbers posted.
And not many numbers being posted by either team here offensively. The New York Jets, though, would desperately like to get a first down. This is a type of a drive where you don't even think about points. You're thinking about field position. I've got to get out of my own end zone. So far, this ball game has been played in the Jets' half of the football field. That's not the way to win.
On third down, O'Brien completes it. Wesley Walker, and that'll be good enough for a Jet first down, shy of the 20-yard line.
Well, the cream rises to the top. Kenny O'Brien didn't get to be the highest-rated quarterback in the game for nothing. Look at the precision pass. Look at the precision route by Walker, and watch him get both feet in. That's nice. That's very nice.
Leroy Irvin was there, and a good play by Walker, who leads the AFC with 12 touchdown receptions. And a big first down for the Jets, getting out of trouble.
I can hear Joe Walton sigh all the way up here.
At the 15, McNeil. The middle. Has another first down for the Jets before Cromwell and Irvin bring him down, and a gain of 12 for Freeman McNeil.
Let's watch the left guard. Guy Bingham was going to pull, and he's going to Stan Alexander, rather. Watch him pull and come and make the trap play. McNeil right in behind. Let's take a look at it. Bingham up in there. There's the trap block right on the middle linebacker. Eckern doesn't even see the ball. Freeman McNeil hits a hole perfectly.
First and 10 for the Jets at the 27. McNeil again. And he brings it out to the 31.5-yard line where Carl Eckern makes the tackle. McNeil, with a strong game against Miami, gained 88 yards on the ground and also caught 5 passes. Told us the other day, when you're on injured reserve, it's like you're not wanted. You're all by yourself, and there's no other way to describe it. You know that.
And he's still not all the way back. The elbow bothers him to the point where he can't weight lift the way that he would like. He's concerned about his upper body strength, his ability to take on a tackle.
Second and 5, McNeil. Close to the first down. Maybe shy by a yard, and Nolan Cromwell comes up from the strong safety position to make the stop. Dick Stockton and Deardorff here at the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Two teams that lead their respective divisions, fighting it out in a defensive first quarter. No score with 6:15 to go.
This weather is not what the New York Jets were hoping for. They wanted a real cold, snowy day today. Maybe take advantage of the Rams being from Southern California. This works for the Rams' benefit.
3rd and 1. Johnny Hector is in the game. Tony Page carries for the first down. Let's see where they spot the ball, and it is a first down for the New York Jets. Reggie Doss making the stop.
Well, the Jets are doing what they have to do. Keep in mind, they start at their own 2-yard line. They're up now at their own 38. So regardless of whether or not they end up having to punt on this drive has already been successful.
At the 39, 1st and 10 Jets. Johnny Hector in the ball game. Penalty marker down as Hector brings it out to the 41-yard line. Owens and Doss on the tackle. And this will go against the Jets, and as we said, the most penalized team in the National Football League, and living up to that reputation with their 4th penalty so far.
Illegal motion, 64 offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
That was Guy Bingham, and you talked about Fields getting back last week, Dan, and Bingham played outstanding backup for Fields at the center position for those 8 games.
And now his 2nd penalty of the game, so his plus-minus ratio is now -1. We gave him credit for the real good block on the McNeil run. 2 penalties, though. That's bad.
1st and 15. And the Jets pick up the blitz, and the pass off the hands of Mickey Schuler, the tight end, incomplete. Jerry Gray was in the neighborhood, and Schuler, who's one of the top tight ends in the National Football League, just couldn't hold on.
He just unfortunately happens to be in the conference where people like Todd Christensen and Kellen Winslow get all the publicity. But Mickey Schuler, one of the best tight ends in football, and that ball just thrown a little too much towards the sidelines, and it looked like he mistimed his jump a little bit. He was up in the air before the ball got there and then was on his way back down when the football arrived.
2nd and 15. And here's McNeil. Freeman McNeil almost gets the first down as he stopped at the 47-yard line. A gain of 14. And McNeil is back. Newsom makes the tackle.
It's just lead blocking at the line of scrimmage. Let's watch the left side of the Jets offensive line come off the ball. Sweeney, Bingham, and Fields. They're just reading. Now the turn upfield. Bingham working towards the outside. And boy, that's just outstanding blocking at the line of scrimmage. And look at the way McNeil cut back towards the middle of the field rather than going to the sidelines. Always a sign of a tough back.
It'll be 3rd down and 1, and Johnny Hector with Tony Page now in the backfield. And it's Johnny Hector. Hector has the 1st down as he gets into Ram territory at the 49, and Newsome again on the tackle.
Well, right now it appears that the Jet offensive line are acting like they're the ones that are supposed to all be in the Pro Bowl. Look at the blocking at the point of attack. Johnny Hector, who would like a lot more playing time than he's getting here at the Jets. He doesn't want to play only when Freeman McNeil is hurt. He would like to start. A lot of people feel that he is good enough to do so, but good blocking at the point of attack by the New York Jets.
1st and 10 at the Rams 48 now with 3:40 remaining in the 1st quarter. First time the Jets have been in Ram territory. McNeil slices off tackle and gets to the 40, fumbles. The whistle had blown before the fumble, and it'll be short of a 1st down by a half a yard, but McNeil gets inside the Ram 40 before Newsome and Cromwell bring him down.
Let's watch some of the blocking at the line of scrimmage. Joe Fields will go straight ahead to right guard. Dan Alexander will pull around, lead up through the hole. The break will be made off of his block. See Alexander pull up through the hole. He's on Eckern again. Freeman McNeil right on his guard's hip. Makes the break, fumbles the ball, though, after he's down.
2nd down and 1, and the pitch to McNeil. He'll have the 1st down. Inside the 35 to the 33. Carl Eckern was there with help from Leroy Irvin, and it's been McNeil, the workhorse, on this drive for the Jets with runs of 12, 14, 9, and a 1st down here.
And they're doing several things. They're chewing up the clock, and they're moving the football. We asked Ken O'Brien, what's the one thing you would like to see Sunday afternoon? He said, we would like to control the football and keep our defense on the sidelines. They know that's the only way they're going to win the game.
1st and 10 Jets on the Ram 33. Fake up the middle, Walker. And it's a fumble, and the Rams have recovered in the end zone. Nolan Cromwell recovers it. It'll be a touchback, and Wesley Walker shaken up. It was Jerry Gray who made the hit on Walker, who caught the ball.
Right in the midsection, Jerry Gray hits Wesley Walker. Play action, Walker in motion, and he badly beats Vince Newsome. Look how wide open, coming from the right. The hit by Gray, and boy, no doubt about it, that was a legitimate catch. A touchback for the Rams. Boy, they dodged a bullet there.
And Wesley Walker still shaken up here at the Meadowlands.
It began as a new way of thinking about the relationship between the automobile and the road. It evolved into an automotive suspension system like none before. The Mercedes-Benz Multi-Link Independent Rear Suspension System. 5 individual links per wheel precisely interacting to achieve handling stability as never before. Helping to make the 300 class the most technologically advanced automobiles in Mercedes-Benz history.
Does Miller High Life come in a clear bottle just to stand out from the crowd? Or is there more to it than that? You see, Miller High Life is brewed dark and rich from this special and expensive roasted malt. How dark and rich? Compare Miller to the other leading premium and see the difference for yourself. When you brew a beer with all the quality and care that goes into Miller High Life, you put it in a clear bottle for the world to see. Because that's the American way.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
I'm giving everyone a mini phone from Radio Shack. That way they'll call often. It's trim, compact, and has an automatic redial. And the 16-foot cord means they can use it anywhere around the house. The best of all, it's on sale for only $12.95. I even bought myself one. Hello? Hello? Hello?
The mini phone on sale for $12.95, only at Radio Shack.
The Big Blue Wrecking Crew of the Giants. The aerial precision of Jay Schrader and the Redskins. The NFC East leaders collide next Sunday on CBS Sports.
Looking at the conclusion of the play from the right side. Here comes Gray. Look at Jerry Gray. Put his helmet in front right on the football, and Wesley Walker never had the opportunity to look back around. He didn't even know Gray was there. One thing for sure, you know, Vince Newsom said, "Thank you, Jerry."
First and 10 at the 20. And Everett calling an audible at the line of scrimmage with 2:09 to go in the first quarter. Eric Dickerson. Dickerson out to the 25-yard line. Gain of 5, and Bob Crable making the tackle. Wesley Walker had the wind knocked out of him, and the word is, as you can see, he'll be back in the lineup for the Jets, who Dan started on the 1-yard line after that penalty and got all the way to the Rams one before they coughed it up.
And before everybody gets all over Wes Walker, just keep in mind that he had to turn over his left shoulder to catch the football. He took the hit from the right. He never had an opportunity to see Jerry Gray coming.
Pitch to Dickerson. Maybe a yard on the play. It'll be 3rd and 5. Barry Bennett with help from Bob Crable on the tackle. So right now the Rams sticking to the ground. As you look at the time remaining in the first quarter, Jim Everett has thrown 2 interceptions, and he had 2 interceptions in the first half last week against the Saints, and from then on he just handed the ball off to Dickerson the rest of the way.
And the Rams with their passing offense, Dickerson out, Redden out, and both tight ends out of the lineup. 4 wide receivers.
And Kevin House, the former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, in there. 3rd and 5 at the 25. And here's the blitz. They pick it up, and the pass is caught by Ellard, and a first down for the Rams. Just shy of the 30, Harry Hamilton makes the tackle.
You lock your entire secondary into man coverage when both of your inside people come. That's what the Jets do. And what happens? Watch how they get walled off at the line of scrimmage. When you blitz like that, look at the pocket we have right here. Look at the pocket in downfield. It's Harry Hamilton one-on-one because of the blitz, and he doesn't have the coverage.
Ellard makes the catch at the 40-yard line, and Russell Carter was right there. So Henry Ellard, as the final seconds tick off in the first quarter, making his 5th start following a holdout. According to John Robinson, has caught up. He's a class receiver, and he's the man that Everett is likely to go to of their wide men today.
And Jim Everett will always remember him.
Caught his first touchdown pass. You never forget that. That's the end of the first quarter here at the Meadowlands. No score between the Rams and the Jets.
'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring except Fievel the mouse.
Presenting Fievel, the adorable star of Steven Spielberg's presentation of the Don Bluth film An American Tail. Now collect all 4 different McDonald's stocking ornaments featuring Fievel. Each one comes free when you buy the perfect stocking stuffer. A $5 book of McDonald's gift certificates.
This holiday season, give a terrific surprise. Free Fievel stockings with our gift certificates inside.
Hello. I guess you know I find you extremely attractive.
Hey, thank you very much.
It's time to change your light bulb. Philips Longer Life Square bulbs last 33% longer than ordinary round bulbs.
I own a PC and a VCR, a condo on the beach, and my own company. But I don't own a car. I lease with GMAC. For me, leasing was smarter than buying. It's just good money management. And since I worked out the terms with my GM dealer, I can pay less each month. It was easy. Now I've got the new car I want, and leasing frees up my money for other things.
GMAC Leasing, only at your GM dealer. For you, it just might be smarter than buying.
Dick Stockton and Dan Deerdorf back at the Meadowlands, and the Jets and Rams have just concluded a scoreless first quarter. Anything surprising?
Well, how well the Jets are playing defensively. Keep in mind, they put Lorenzo Hampton in the Hall of Fame last week. They've only given up 13 rushing yards to the Rams in the first quarter. I'd call that an improvement.
at the 39. Jim Stuckey makes the tackle. Stuckey, the former San Francisco 49er.
You can't be surprised by the way the Jets are playing defensively. They go to a different look. They've got more people on the line of scrimmage. Keep in mind, this is a championship caliber team as you look at what they did on that last play. Stuckey being the addition, but their pride was severely wounded on Monday night. Never sell that short. How you bounce back from that if you're a good team.
3rd and 4 at the 40. Rams territory. Everett completes to Kevin House. And House to the 20-yard line, to the 10, 5, and Kevin House is in for the touchdown. A 60-yard pass and run from Everett to Kevin House, who was a sensational receiver and dropped by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers several weeks ago. Slow getting up, and the Rams draw first blood against the Jets and lead 6-0 on a 60-yard play.
But Carson told us yesterday, I'm going to have to take more chances than I want to. Watch the blitz. Everyone is coming up the middle. They're going to be blocked off again by the Rams when you're forced into single coverage. Look at them all come, but look how they're all stopped. Everett has all the time that he needs. That's why you end up getting big plays. Let's look at Kevin House working out of the slot formation. Makes his break to the inside, but he's beaten Humphrey clearly, and what a sensational catch by Kevin House. You know, a lot of teams in the league, when he was put on waivers by the Buccaneers, passed him by because he made a big salary. Some teams want to win, some teams don't.
And the reaction of Jim Everett, who had thrown 2 interceptions and gets back on the right track.
But I'm an old offensive lineman, forgive me for saying this, but I have to say it. That entire play came about sure because of the fine throw and catch. But the blitz was on, and nobody got near the quarterback. Credit the offensive line.
Oh, you're not that old.
Well,
Steve Dills will hold for Mike Lansford. 6-0 to score. And Lansford's kick is good. So Kevin House, who had caught just 1 pass since coming over from Tampa Bay, gives the Rams a 7-0 lead.
This is my daughter, Kathleen.
She's been gone for 20 years.
My Pop, what a surprise.
And now she's moving home.
It's going nicely, don't you think?
The Kavanaughs premieres Monday on CBS.
I've been an executive in the oil business for more than 20 years. I've always been hardworking, and I love honest competition. But you know, when I'm on the road, the thing that's uppermost in my mind is my family. I'm on the phone with my wife, Betty, and my kids all the time. I've got 6 of them, and they truly are the joy of my life. I love my family, and that's why I care about the kind of community they're going to live in. That's why I'm part of the United Way leadership team that's helping to solve people's problems in my community.
United Way services all kinds of people.
I think that's an extremely... I'm a pretty busy guy, but I always find the time to take in an NFL game on the weekend.
This is my favorite occupation.
I'm Gene Barth, an NFL referee. I've always been a professional on the field, and I try to be a professional in my community. Among my colleagues in the NFL, you'll find doctors, teachers, lawyers, but they're all part of the NFL family on game day.
And United Way is part of the NFL family, too.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Miller High Life. Miller, paid the American way since 1855. And by Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world.
An ideal day for football as Kevin House takes a breather after catching a Jim Everett pass and completing a 60-yard play to give the Rams a 7-0 lead within a minute of the second quarter. And now kicking off will be Mike Lansford, and going deep for the Jets on the left is Bobby Humphrey and JoJo Townsell on the right. So the Jets, who fell behind to Miami in a big way last week, trail now 7-0 as you look at the scoring drive. Sort of an end-over-end squibber, and it's going to be Humphrey at the 12-yard line. And he's dropped at the 12-yard line by Vince Newsom with help from Cliff Thrift. NFC West. Keep in mind, as you look at the division records as well as the overall record, that the Rams, with the lead here, ahead of San Francisco by only a half game. The Jets have a one-game lead over New England. The Patriots have won 6 in a row. No score in New Orleans in the first quarter. And the Patriots, with 6 straight wins, have the longest active winning streak right now in the NFL. First and 10 on the 12. Greg Meisner is now the nose tackle for the Rams. Freeman McNeil goes in motion outside. And O'Brien hits McNeil. A completed pass, and right now for an NFL Today report, the Redskins have gone to town. Here's Brent Musburger in New York. Brent?
Dick, we'll update this story for you at halftime. Right now, the Washington Redskins are ahead of St. Louis. It is 7-3. Giant fans are certainly interested in this one. The Giants and the Skins are all tied atop the NFC East, but it's the Jets taking on the Rams. Let's go back to Dick.
All right, Brent, here's our story. It'll be 2nd down and 2 now for the Jets on the 20-yard line. McNeil fumbles, and the Rams may have stopped it, and they do. The Rams have recovered a Freeman McNeil fumble, and it was Vince Newsom. And that's what Joe Walton thinks of all this. So after Everett threw 2 interceptions for the Rams have come back and recovered 2 fumbles, and they scored the first time they got it.
Well, we can clearly see the football coming out of a pile of people. Joe Walton is probably wondering whether Freeman McNeil was down on the ground before the ball came loose. It's very tough to see from there, but it looked like the ball was out before McNeil was down. A legitimate fumble. Vince Newsom rather, in the right place at the right time. Let's look at it again from the end zone. Oh, the ball clearly out before Freeman McNeil is down on the ground.
Rams will have ideal field position now. And you can see the satisfied look on the face to this point of John Robinson.
And I think they're looking at the replay. We can see the umpire with his headset. He's talking to the guys upstairs.
Reggie Doss made the hit on McNeil, who fumbled it, and they're going to check the replay now. This is a critical decision, and don't forget, it has to be conclusive. That's the key word here as you look at the replay on a penalty.
There must be conclusive evidence to overturn the official's call. The officials have ruled that it is a fumble. They must clearly and conclusively see that it was not a fumble to overturn it. Again, we take a look. The ball down on the ground before Freeman McNeil gets anywhere near the turf.
After a further review of instant replay, the call stands. First down, Los Angeles.
And they saw it upstairs the way you saw it, and it's a fumble recovered by Newsom. And the Rams have a 1st and 10 at the 23-yard line of the Jets, leading in this game 7-0. Vince Newsom, who has split time at free safety with Johnny Johnson. And Joe Walton now has to hope his defense can keep the Rams down. They have Redden and Dickerson in the backfield. Everett to throw on 1st down. And Ellard, the intended receiver, and Harry Hamilton came out of nowhere to knock the ball away, and a fine play by Hamilton.
Harry Hamilton came from the middle of the field, read the play perfectly, and coming from his free safety position did exactly what he's supposed to do. Watch him coming from the right. That's a touchdown all the way. Ellard was wide open. He had beaten Russell Carter. Harry Hamilton saved today for the Jets.
And Russell Carter really got the hand in there. Both of them combined, but I think Carter got the hand on the ball on second look. 2nd and 10. Barry Redden with his first carry. Redden, an outstanding running back, just doesn't get a chance to carry that much with Dickerson on the scene.
Well, Barry Redden is getting the opportunity, though, to start, something he never did before, and that's because John Robinson went away from the one-back offense. He felt that with the new defenses being played, primarily defenses like the 46 they use in Chicago, when you put that many men on the line of scrimmage, it really limits the one-back offense. So he's made a variation and adjustment, and Barry Redden is very happy about it.
It's 3rd and 8, and Kevin House, who caught the touchdown pass, has come in for the Rams. The ball at the Jet 21. Was intended for Ron Brown. Defending
Ron Brown had to go low for this football, as we see Holmes with a little hand on the back. But he had it in his hands and lost it. But good coverage that time. Jerry Holmes on Ron Brown.
It's 4th down, and the Rams will try to stretch their lead to 10, and Mike Lansford will try a 38-yard field goal. He was a big hero last week, kicking 4 for 4 against the Saints. Dills will hold. Lansford's kick is good, and with 12:47 on the clock in the second quarter, John Robinson couldn't want it any better than it is. With the Rams, with a good defensive team and good running, lead it 10-0 over the Jets.
The stars are going to twinkle and shine. How they'll shine this evening about 8:45. I know I won't be late. Oh, that 8:30. I'm gonna hurry there. I'll be waiting where.
They say time is what you make it. At Citizen, we prefer making it beautiful.
About 8:45.
Citizen.
Now, I just turned around for half a second, and boom, the whole thing went up.
Hottest day in the summer, and we end up loading that sucker twice.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you remember looking old man Donovan's face?
After that, I never thought he'd bring out that keg like that.
That was good draft. Oh, I remember that beer.
When you drink a new Miller Genuine Draft, it'll remind you of the best beer you ever had, because it is Genuine Draft. Cold filtered for real draft smoothness. Miller Genuine Draft. It's beer at its best.
How come Donovan never asked us back?
It's your money, son. But if you want my advice, buy another Subaru.
Sure, Dad.
I thought we agreed you'd buy a Subaru.
But, Dad, I did.
The Subaru XT, the Sport Magazine Super Bowl MVP award.
Tonight, some called him the man with the golden touch. Some saw him as the emissary of the devil.
You are a madman.
Burt Lancaster stars as America's first great showman, Barnum.
Here's a turnover stories. They burned the Jets when they've made mistakes, and when the Rams have made the errors, the Jets have not been able to convert. And as a result, it is 10-0 in favor of the Rams with 12:47 to go in the second quarter. Lansford kicking off. Townsell on the right and Humphrey on the left, and the wind blows the ball off the tee. Rams have won 3 in a row twice this year, and of course the victory last week over the Saints broke a 2-game losing streak. And now Cromwell, who has been a holder in the past for the Rams, will do those chores now for Lansford. And a swiver off the foot of Page, and it's down right there. Not taking any chance is Ben Rudolph. Well, let's take a look at what's coming up next week on CBS Sports.
And next Saturday, one of the great scenes in college football. It's the 87th Army-Navy game. That'll be live, 2 o'clock Eastern time, right here on CBS Sports.
And, of course, the live coverage of the presentation of the Heisman Trophy. Who will win this coveted award? Well, you'll find out live next Saturday at 5:30 Eastern on CBS. Most people say Vinny Testaverde. We'll find out for sure next Saturday. First and 10 Jets on their 28-yard line. Freeman McNeil. It's an opening, and McNeil, close to the first down, brings it out to the 38-yard line. Johnny Johnson on the stop.
McNeil's been very close to breaking a couple big runs. Look at the fold blocking up inside. Guy Bingham comes around, gets another good block. And McNeil's doing a good job of reading his guys up front. Sometimes the line will give a back an opening, and he misses it. Freeman McNeil, rather, is hitting it. And McNeil is causing me some problems here today. McNeil.
We need 50-degree weather, not 40-degree weather.
You're right.
McNeil on the swing pass is out of bounds at at the 44-yard line. Jerry Gray and Vince Newsom making the tackle, and the Redskins leading, and so are the Bears. Now, keep in mind that the Redskins can clinch a playoff berth with a victory over the Cardinals, and the Bears, with a victory over Pittsburgh or a loss by Minnesota today, would clinch the NFC Central Division title. 2nd and 4 at the 45, and those playoff possibilities start to come into focus now in these final 4 games. And the inside handoff to McNeil to the 46-yard line. It'll be 3rd and short yardage. Doss on the tackle. The Patriots and the Saints are no score in the 2nd quarter. New England, the game behind the Jets, but they have been hampered with some key injuries.
Just look at some of these names and look how long they're out. New England is, in many ways, like the Jets. And there are about 2 more sheets of people that can't play, and there's a good look at Joe Klecko, the all-pro nose guard of the New York Jets. They're hopeful that he'll be back next week. The Rams think that's pretty good. That's time for the 49ers game.
They like that plan. 3rd and 3 at the 46. Johnny Hector in there to block. Ken O'Brien finds Hector, and Hector may have the first down. At midfield, Mark Giroux and Mel Owens make the stop, and good ad-libbing by Ken O'Brien on that play. It is a Jet first down.
And it was a good job of pass protection. Kenny O'Brien is going to move to his left on the design sprint out, but look at the time he has to survey the field. He just drifts back to his right, and Hector, aware of where the sticks were, caught the ball and just fell for the first down.
At midfield for the Jets. McNeil back in the lineup. O'Brien and Al Toon with his first catch of the game is a yard shy of a first down to the 41 of the Rams. Mike Wiltshire made the stop.
Al Toon does so many things well, but maybe best of all is his ability to move after he catches the ball. Leroy Irvin anticipates him going to the sidelines, badly overplays it. A lot of receivers just like to step out of bounds so they don't have to take the hit. Toon goes back to the middle of the field and picks up good yardage.
He is 5 catches away from the Jet season record held by Mickey Schuler. McNeil on 2nd and 1 will have a Jet first down at the 36. Wiltshire on the tackle. And the Jets, who have threatened today but have not scored, need something here, trailing 10-0.
You know, a lot of times, one running back gets so much publicity, so much attention, and of course that's Eric Dickerson. Well, if I'm Freeman McNeil, I've got to be a little upset about that. I've got to say, hey, what am I, chopped liver or something? We may be seeing Freeman here today really putting on the game of the year just to show Eric Dickerson there's somebody in this town, and his name is Freeman McNeil.
1st and 10 at the Rams 35. McNeil slides for about a yard. That's all. Mark Giroux making the tackle. Mark Giroux is playing in place of Jim Collins, who suffered a pinched nerve, and that was a big loss. We've talked about defensive injuries for the Jets that have been crippling. Collins' loss to the Rams was a big one for them.
And he's clearly their best linebacker, as is Lance Mel, his counterpart with the New York Jets. So both teams minus their #1 signal caller, best player.
2nd and 9. Was intended for Tony Page out of the backfield, and Gary Jeter in the game as a pass rusher, but it was Sean Miller that time who put the heat on. Gary Jeter, who used to play for the Giants, he's second on this team with sacks. And what did he tell us when he came here for practice yesterday?
He said he walks down the tunnel from the parking lot, and you have to make a left turn to go to the Giants locker room, a right turn to the visitors. And he said, I keep wanting to go the wrong way down the hallway. What a party we had here yesterday afternoon. The New York Giants were here for a practice. The Rams were here out on the field. A lot of old acquaintances renewed.
3rd and 9. Pressure on O'Brien, and down he goes, and it's Jeter on the sack. So Gary Jeter with his 7th sack of the season, matching Kevin Green with the club leadership.
Let's take a look at Gary Jeter here at the bottom of the picture. He's going to be late coming off the football, but then he's going to come in late. Really watch the right tackle, number 72, Gordon King. He's going to get run back into O'Brien. He blocks his view, forces him to move out, and then Jeter cleans up. That's one of those situations where just hanging around, being in the right place, sometimes you pick up a garbage sack. That's what that was.
A loss of 11 yards. So Jennings is in to kick, and Henry Ellard goes back with Johnny Johnson. Johnson is on the left, Ellard on the right. Playoff possibilities, and actually the Jets could clinch a wild card berth, but Kansas City would have to lose. They're winning. Cleveland would have to lose, and Cincinnati, playing later against Denver, would also have to lose, and the Jets to win to get in the playoffs. 1st and 10 at the 12. Worst starting position for the Rams. And Eric Dickerson carries, and Tom Baldwin brings him down. Bud Carson publicly took blame for a bad defensive game plan in a loss to Miami last week, and he said there's no way we're going to let Dickerson get loose this week.
No, but what has he also said? He said, because of my personnel, because of the people that I have hurt, I'm going to have to take more chances than I normally would. I think we've seen that early with all the blitzes. They haven't worked, and as a result, they've been burned for a couple big plays.
And he's done the job, however, against Dickerson, who is averaging less than 2 yards a carry. 2nd and 10 at the 12. Rusty Gilbo is in as a 4th linebacker now. And Dickerson finds some room and brings it out to the 20. Harry Hamilton prevented Dickerson from getting a 1st down, but he gets it out to the 20-yard line, shy by about 3 yards. It'll be 3rd down.
This play is called gap right. The two guys that are going to get up through the hole are the left guard Newberry, the left tackle Pankey. Dickerson, a little stutter. He'll follow them up into the hole. Let's take a look at it. Get people to the point of attack. Look at the alleyway. Look at the crease. When they work it the first day of training camp, John Robinson says this is the way it'll work. In November, it just did.
3rd down and 2 for the Rams at the 20. Dickerson. Let's see where they spot it. And the Jets feel that Dickerson was stopped, and we may have a measurement. Carter and Lyles get credit for the tackle. They're going to measure.
Jets put an awful lot of people on the line of scrimmage that time. With the way Jim Reviter has been throwing the football, they played run all the way and guessed right. Have to hold the football because the wind will roll it out of the way.
Short by less than a yard.
Let's look how many people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the line of scrimmage. Kyle Clifton is the middle linebacker. He'll make the initial hit. There's nobody. Takes on the lead blocker. In to come to make the play. Russell Carter wipes up. But Clifton stuffs right in the hole, and that's going to bring about a punt by the Rams.
Dale Hatcher, next to last in the NFC, was in the Pro Bowl last year. Kurt Sohn is back for the Jets. And the Jets were sending some folks on that one, and Sohn at midfield. And Sohn gets into Ram territory. A 29-yard punt by Hatcher, and a penalty marker has been thrown as Sohn is tackled at the Ram 46, and now some tempers flare. And Norwood Van being helped away by David Hill of the Rams. And keep in mind, wasn't it Jackie Slater who had problems with Mark Gastineau last time they were here?
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 30, 15 yards, and it'll be 1st and 10.
Lou Faola.
All right, let's take a look at it. If we can pick it up. Now that's Harry Hamilton. Hatcher kind of throws him out of the way. But that's not where the penalty was involved. Here's Faola. Oh, he gets a right cross into the face mask of Norwood Van. That's the one that was seen and flagged. Lou Faola.
Well, I had to say it first, but you...
That's because we practiced it yesterday.
Rookie from the University of Hawaii. 1st and 10 for the Jets, back on their 39. They pass it out of the backfield to Freeman McNeil, and the stop by Johnny Johnson. And now for an NFL Today report, let's check back with Brent Musburger. Brent?
Dick, we've had a dramatic turnaround in that St. Louis Cardinal game. Watch this touchdown pass. Neil Lomax floats it into the side of the end zone to J.T. Smith, and the Cardinals are ahead of the Skins. Skins could have one eye on the Giants. This could be a spot for an upset. We'll keep you up to date. Back to Dick.
You're right, Brent. And, of course, the Redskins may not even be thinking of clinching wild card. They're tied for first, and the Giants play the 49ers tomorrow. So things are heating up. 2nd and 6 for the Jets on the 43. Swing it out to McNeil. Incomplete. He led him a little bit too much. Interesting about the Jets. A team with a 10-2 record, and now only one game ahead of New England in their division.
Every time a Jet player turns around, looks behind him, you know that they sense the presence of the New England Patriots. And it's because of one thing. I think their confidence was severely shaken on Monday night. Asked Bud Carson what he thought about what happened. He said simply, we were stunned, and they were.
3rd down and 6 at the 43. On the delay, McNeil gets by Jeter. Gets to the 40-yard line. So the Jets had good field position. They were in Ram territory, and then the penalty ruined this effort as Newsom and Green make the stop finally on McNeil.
Here's Gary Jeter at the bottom of the screen. He's working against Sweeney. He just works upfield. I think he expected McNeil to come to the inside, but instead he bounces to the outside right into the arms of Jeter. Jim Sweeney, the most surprised guy in the stadium when he sees Freeman McNeil to the outside in the arms of Gary Jeter.
Jennings kicking again with 4:48 remaining in the first half, and Henry Ellard goes deep for the Rams. Good kick by Jennings, and sails over the head of Ellard. Jets will try to keep it in, and they do. Bobby Humphrey inside the 5. The Jets hope that might be their spark as they trail 10-0. Here at the Meadowlands, the Rams lead the Jets, and again, here's what they're playing for. Rams, a half-game lead over the 49ers in the NFC West. Jets, 1-game lead over the Patriots in the AFC East, and the Patriots playing in New England, in New Orleans. Still no score in the second quarter, and the Patriots badly beaten and battered with injuries. But everyone can make that claim this time of year. 1st and 10 at the 5 for the Rams. Dickerson. And that offensive line again opens up a hole, and they bring it out to the 10, does Dickerson. Matt Munger making the stop.
The Rams don't use numbers in their running game. This is called gap right. Again, Newberry and Pankey pull. Will lead up through the down block of Slater. Watch how it opens up. David Hill will turn it to the outside. Just take a look. Take a look at that hole. Newberry walls his man to the inside. Pankey puts his guy down. You'd think they'd know that play was coming as often as they've seen the Rams run it.
2nd down and 5. Dickerson again off the left side. And he stopped shy of the first down by Rusty Gilbo as the clock continues to run. Rusty Gilbo come back from knee surgery, and the Jets felt they rushed him a little bit back too early.
Well, he was activated 3 games ago, but they're just so desperate for any warm body that they can get to play defense. And Rusty, just such a tough individual, originally drafted by the Cardinals as a defensive tackle. Too small. He says, let's go, guys. Let's get the crowd involved.
3rd and 2 at the 13. And they go to their meal ticket. And Eric Dickerson rides it out for a first down to the 19-yard line. Kyle Clifton and Harry Hamilton on the tackle.
Well, if it works once, why not do it again? Back with the same play, gap right. Newberry comes in. Boy, look at the block that he throws. Puts Matt Munger right on his back. Eric Dickerson enjoying some good blocking up front from his big guys in the yellow and blue.
And that's the 4th first down for the Rams. With nearly 2.5 remaining in the first half, Barry Wynn Off tackle, giving Dickerson a rest on that play. Carries to the 23. Charles Jackson making the stop on Redden, who said this week that he's been around a while, but his playing time is practically that of a rookie. And chronologically, he says, I'm middle-aged by now.
I wish that's all I was.
They're going to wind down to the 2-minute warning, and each team has the full complement of 3 timeouts remaining. 10-0, the Rams lead. We're finishing up, and the Rams were working out how much that the Rams wanted the Giants to go beat the 49ers tomorrow.
Why? Yeah, it's not often you find teams rooting for each other, but in a stretch drive like this, and then, of course, next weekend, that big showdown between Washington and the Giants in RFK. Maybe the toughest ballpark, I think, in the NFL to try and win a game.
You know, all of these games that we're telling you about, including this one, are so interconnected, but that's one of those few head-to-head confrontations which really could decide who wins this whole thing in the NFC East.
I don't think there's any question about that, and even more than that, with the Bears hurt, with McMahon being out, remember, the home field advantage for the playoffs, very much up for grabs. 3 teams, the Bears, the Skins, and the Giants, all with that 10-2 record.
2nd down and 6 at the 23, and we've had our 2-minute warning. Rams with the ball. Dickerson is brought down at the 27-yard line by Lester Lyles, and we'll keep track of the timeout story, and each team has 3. It'll be 3rd and short now for the Rams. Lyles leads the Jets in interceptions, and Ron Brown comes into the ball game, replacing Damone Johnson, who had been in there as a 2nd tight end.
And this may be a lost opportunity for New York to get some points on the board. They had the Rams inside the 5-yard line. Looked like an opportunity if they could have gotten them to go 3 and out. Maybe some position around midfield. Rams are putting together a good drive.
3rd and a long one. And they go to Dickerson. 1st down for Eric Dickerson. To the 33, Bob Crable on the tackle, and you get the feeling that if it weren't for the Jets making that big tackle on Dickerson, he might have broken a few of them so far. Dickerson has gained now 46 yards in 14 carries. He has had 8 100-yard gains this season. And the Redskins have come back to take the lead over the Cardinals 14-10. 1st and 10 at the 33. Dickerson coming up the middle to the 36-yard line. Charles Jackson, among others, in on the play. I want to remind you that showdown between the Giants and the Redskins next Sunday begins at 12:30 Eastern Time with the NFL Today.
Have to wonder if Joe Morris will be the difference in that game as he was the first time around here at the Meadowlands. John Robinson happy about something, though, right now, and that's the fact that his quarterback, Jim Everett, is only handing off to Eric Dickerson and not putting the ball in the air.
Well, the thing is, Eardorf reporting, and the turnover story has been the story of the game, where the Jet errors have come back to haunt them. Rams have made mistakes, but the Jets have not been able to capitalize. And it's interesting so far that, Dan, that the Jets, who are the 3rd highest scoring team in the NFL, have only 3 points in the last game and a half.
Yeah, and they're struggling, and I think that's a sign that the whole team is pressing. But really, Dick, the story of the first half here is the chances the Jets have taken that have not paid off, and I guess I'm talking specifically about the touchdown to Kevin House. Let's take a look at it on Telestrator if we could, because the Jets came with the blitz. Here's Lester Lyles at the bottom of the screen. He's going to come. Crable comes from over here. Johnny Lynn comes from the top. They've got 4 men in here anyway, and everybody is blocked off. The Ram offensive line just with sensational pass protection. Everett has enough time to make the play, and Kevin House clear downfield. As we'll take a look at Kevin House working on the slot. He's to the inside. Watch him make his break to the inside, working against Bobby Humphrey. A good throw, an excellent catch.
You know, it's interesting as you look at House going in for that 60-yard touchdown, the only score of the game, and that is the fact that Dickerson has not gained all that many yards, and the Rams haven't run that much so far, but you know they will now.
Well, when they did it effectively was right at the end of the first half. They started inside their 5-yard line. If the Jets could have forced them to punt, they might have got some points on the board before halftime, but Dickerson, I think, and the offensive line took control. That was very effective.
Well, 10 of the last 11 plays by the Rams were run by Dickerson, and we can expect more of the same. And CBS Sports coverage of NFL football football will continue after this message and a word from your local.
By Miller Lite, proud sponsor of NFL Lineman of the Year. There's only one light beer, Miller Lite. Honda, who invites you to experience the Accord four-door sedans at your local Honda dealer. And by MCI, communications for the next 100 years.
And we're getting set for the second half kickoff as the wind blows the ball off the tee for Pat Leahy, who will be booting for the Jets. Deep for the Rams are Charles White and Ron Brown. White on the left. 10-0 the score. Leahy's kickoff. And it's Charles White at the 2-yard line. And White still in bounds with a good return. And now they say he went out of bounds at the 16-yard line. So Charles White out of bounds at the 16-yard line. Well,
the ball really took a bad hop, and White was forced to field it at the 3-yard line, but just not enough field. I think we'll see his left foot. Yep, it stepped on the line right there. And the official alertly saw it, and that's where they're going to spot the ball. Actually, by the time he actually sits it down, it's closer to the 15-yard line.
Charles White has been the backup to Eric Dickerson, and like Redden, not getting that much of a chance to show his wares. 1st and 10 for the Rams on the 16-yard line. Everett was 3 of 8. 1 touchdown. Big one in the first half. Ellard knocked out of bounds by Crable and picking up 7 yards on the play.
We'll call this a confidence builder. John Robinson trying to give Jim Everett some short, quick timing patterns to get the field back. That's about as short a pattern as a guy could run. Ellard 1 step downfield to screen Doug Smith out front, Newberry out front. That's a way to get a quarterback, get the feeling back throwing the football. It's a little windy here at the Meadowlands, and Jim Everett, only 3 completions before that, but the number to the right, the 2 interceptions. They've not hurt the Rams, though.
Barry Redden up the middle, and Barry Redden has a Ram first down at the 28-yard line. Kyle Clifton first, and then Bob Crable combined to make the tackle. All the points coming in the second quarter. Crable started the season playing outside and then moved inside when Rusty Gilbo returned to action for the Jets. 1st and 10 at the 28. Not a great runner, but he can be elusive, and Everett slides his way to the 33-yard line before Lester Lyles and Tom Baldwin make the stop.
I think you're right on in your analysis, Dick, when you said he's not a great runner, but he's elusive. John Robinson had an excellent line talking about Jim Everett. He said he doesn't have great straightaway speed, but he's so nifty. He said, I bet when he was a kid, when they played tag, he was never it. Those are the kind of quick feet and the skills that a quarterback needs. They call it pocket sense. Some have it, some don't. It's tough to develop, and Jim Everett has it.
2nd down and 6 for the Rams on their own 32. And Barry Redden dives forward, penalty marker thrown back at the line of scrimmage, and Redden is stopped at the 39. Would be a Ram first down, except for this. Holding called against L.A.
Holding, 56 offense, 10-yard penalty. We'll replay the second down.
That was the center, Doug Smith, and that was also the first penalty of the game against the Rams.
And coaches really hate a holding call on a running play. You can live with it on the pass protection if you feel that maybe it's keeping your quarterback from taking a shot, but John Robinson can't be happy about not only on a successful running play, but on any running play. You just hate to have an offensive lineman flagged for holding.
So instead of the first down, 2nd and 16, back to the 22. Dickerson. His first carry doesn't get much of the second half. At the 24-yard line, picked up 2 yards. Kyle Clifton.
The New York Jets still working with the 4-man line. They got away from it. Take a look at them in here in the middle, and they stack things up. The line of scrimmage is now going to move backwards. Eric Dickerson doesn't have anywhere to go with the football. A wrinkle the Jets worked on all week. 3 linebackers, 4 linemen. Generally, it's been effective against Dickerson. Stuckey, number 71, being the extra man in.
Kevin House replaces Barry Redden as the 3rd wide receiver now for the Rams. And Jim Everett doesn't like what he sees and calls a timeout.
Well, he was down to 3 seconds on the 30-second clock. And better to take the timeout than either try to rush a play. When you've got the lead, when you're a young quarterback, I think John Robinson says, anytime you're not sure, take the timeout.
John Robinson was talking about Everett as a leader, and he likened him to Ken Stabler, a guy that, of course, he helped coach with the old Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, when he was with the Raiders, he said, that's the last time I saw a quarterback that everyone instinctively rallied around. He's one of the boys. He goes out with the offensive linemen, a lot like what a Jim McMahon would do in Chicago, although personality-wise, there's nothing similar about the two. He also said what a difficult situation he was in because he replaced a popular player. Kent Hill, who ending up in that trade to Houston, one of the most well-liked member of the Rams. You'd think they'd instinctively dislike Jim Everett. Not the case. They warmed to him right away.
And speaking of Stabler and the old Raiders, the Raiders will be part of the second half of our CBS doubleheader coming up when they go against the Philadelphia Eagles. Coming up next for most of you on CBS. 3rd down and 14 for the Rams on their own 24. Out of the shotgun this time. Everett completes the pass out of the backfield to Darren Long, who was just signed this week. Former USFL performer out of Cal State Long Beach. Long was signed when Mike Gooman was put on injured reserve with an injury, and it was Lyndon Lyles on the tackle.
How does a young quarterback react to the blitz? The blitz is going to come from the top of the screen. The corner is going to be right in Jim Everett's face. An extra man, there aren't enough people to block him. He gets rid of the football over Bobby Humphrey, completes it to Long, and even though it wasn't a first down, Jim Everett showed that he can handle the blitz under pressure.
It's 4th down, and Hatcher will kick, and Kurt Sohn goes back for the Jets. An end-over-end punt. Sohn wisely lets it roll, and it will stop at the 27-yard line. A kick of 36 yards by Hatcher. So the Jet fans urging their team on. Dick Stockton and Dan Deerdorf here at the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Rams lead 10-0, and the Jets have the ball on their own 28, 1st and 10. Ken O'Brien. Johnny Hector to the 31-yard line, just a gain of 3, and it was Mark Giroux who made the play. Carl Eckern was also in the neighborhood.
I think by virtue of the fact that Johnny Hector was the receiver, the safety valve, the second time we've seen it so far today, that's a testimony how well the Rams secondary is covering Wesley Walker, Al Toon, Schuler. Where are these guys? Walker we've seen make some good catches today, but Al Toon been relatively quiet.
Gary Jeter, the pass rusher, number 77, is in for the Rams on 2nd and 6 at the 32. Freeman McNeil. Hector has the first down to the 39-yard line. So the Jets' leading rusher, Johnny Hector, has a first down. Mike Wiltshire on the stop from outside linebacker.
Turnabout is fair play. Here's New York Jet, their version of the gap. The right guard is going to pull. The right tackle, Alexander and King, are going to get up through the hole out of the one-back formation. The old counter tray. The Jets, Johnny Hector, working for a first down.
At the 40, Wesley Walker in motion. And O'Brien down the middle, Kurt Sohn, and it's incomplete. Double cover down there by Gray and Cromwell. Sohn has not caught a pass in the last 8 games, and they try to go deep on that one.
Now there is an interesting call. The only deep pattern run that time was by Kurt Sohn. You've got Al Toon, you've got Wesley Walker back by the line of scrimmage, and they don't get the call, and yet O'Brien threw it right into the jaws of double coverage to one of the Jets' slower receivers. I don't know that was really the prescribed throw on that particular play.
Al Toon has caught just one pass so far today. 2nd and 10 at the 40. Freeman McNeil back in there now for the Jets. O'Brien's pass, tipped and caught. Rocky Cleaver on the deflection, and the Rams are claiming that it hit the ground, and the officials may call a completion there. It was off Mickey Schuler's chest into the hands of Rocky Cleaver.
Well, this is an offensive tip drill. This is a good pass to Schuler. Watch how he's right there wide open and right off the front of his shoulder pads, and Rocky Cleaver just 3 yards behind him. The ball did hit the ground. If we could take a look at that again, maybe we could see where the ball did come out and hit the ground. The determining factor will have to be whether or not he had possession before it hit the ground.
The call stands. It's a completed catch.
They checked it. First down, Jets.
Okay, you make the call. Off of Schuler to Cleaver. Yes, he had possession of the football. It hit the ground while it was a live play, and in essence, he recovered his own fumble. An eye to the heavens saying, come on.
Jets 1st and 10, just in Ram territory with 8:58 to go, 3rd quarter. Freeman McNeil to the 45-yard line, make it the 46, and a gain of almost 4 yards on the play. Doug Reed on the tackle.
One of the things the Jets do a lot is they bring Rocky Cleaver from the outside, put him in motion, then have him block in the middle. There he goes down on the nose guard, rubs off on a linebacker. The Jets do that an awful lot. I don't know that I'd particularly like to play defensive line and have a guy come from the sidelines and hit me.
On 2nd and 6, O'Brien. And that pass is picked off by Johnny Gray, Jerry Gray. And Gray with an interception. It was tipped by Schuler again, but into the hands of the Rams.
Well, it's tough to get lucky twice in a row. That's what the Jets were asking for. The protection, how was it? Well, initially his line of view is blocked. O'Brien gets rid of the football and then takes a shot. Let's look at the end of the play. Mickey Schuler lines up tight at the tight end position. He'll do just a simple hook, sit in the zone, and he's wide open. The pass, though, is high. The pass was high. Jerry Gray makes the tip, but Schuler is tough to be faulted that time around as the ball was way high.
And that's the 8th interception of the season for Jerry Gray. The Jets' 3rd turnover of the game will result in another score by the Rams. That's how they got their 10, and now the Rams have it. 1st and 10 on their own 40 with 8:17 remaining, 3rd quarter. Everett swings it out, incomplete. Barry Redden, the intended receiver. Everett, to talk about that trade that Dan talked about, the Rams had to surrender 2 number-1 draft picks in the next 2 years, plus a number 5 pick coming up next year. Kent Hill, he talked about, the popular left guard, and William Fuller, a defensive end. The Rams think all of that was worth it.
Time will tell.
Houston Oilers couldn't sign him. The Rams have him. 2nd and 10 at the 40. Pitch to Dickerson. And Eric Dickerson finds open space. And ridden out of bounds at the 33-yard line by Lester Lyles. And the biggest run of the game by Eric Dickerson, 27 yards.
The lead block is going to come from Barry Redden. This is number 55, Charles Jackson. Watch him float to the outside and get chopped to the ground. Dickerson will go right inside. Let's take a look at this. Barry Redden. This is as good a lead block as a guy can get. Look at the opening for Eric Dickerson. All he has to do is hit it, and away he goes. You give him an opening, he knows what to do with it.
78 yards on the day for Dickerson. 27 on that play. 1st and 10 Rams on the Jet 33. Redden gets by Crable. Gets by a few Jets. And a first down and out of bounds at the 15-yard line by Russell Carter. And an 18-yard gain by Barry Redden.
This is going to be the gap play to the left. Only this time it's Dennis Hare, Jackie Slater. They're going to turn up inside where the play is supposed to hit. Right here on the outside is Crable. He's going to be too far to the middle, and the play is going to bounce to the outside. That's what happens. You start thinking it's going to hit in the middle. You overplay your position. You're out of position. You get burned.
And that's the longest run from scrimmage by Barry Redden this year, 18 yards. First and 10 at the 15. Ram stretch. It's Redden inside. And Redden for a yard, and that may be all. Kyle Clifton on the tackle with under 8 minutes remaining in the third quarter, and in a tight, taut, scoreless game, New Orleans on Morton Anderson's field goal breaks the tie and leads the Patriots 3-0.
You know, that play constantly banging up into the middle, it's almost like a pitcher that gives you fastball, fastball, fastball. All of a sudden you're playing the fastball. Here comes the changeup. You're way out in front. That happened to Bob Crable. He assumed it was going to be inside.
Second and 10. Dickerson. And out of bounds at the 13-yard line. Ridden there by Bob Crable.
Remember I mentioned earlier about the fact that they don't use numbers? I asked John Robinson yesterday, well, what do you call just a simple pitch play to Eric Dickerson that we're seeing right here? He said, what do you think? Pitch right, pitch left. That's pitch left. Another good lead block by Barry Redden. No specific hole at all. It's just all Eric Dickerson. The guys up front, go wherever you want to go. I'll never question you.
Third and 7. 4 wide receivers in there for the Rams. Incomplete. Ron Brown was the intended receiver, but that wasn't much close. It was Barry Bennett who put some pressure on.
Let's take a look at some of the line play up front. In the middle, this is Barry Bennett. He's going to stunt to the outside. He's going to come clean, and he's going to make Everett throw the ball. See him come around the corner. Jim Everett had to throw that ball before he wanted to. Barry Bennett, Baldwin in there, forced it.
A 29-yard attempt by Mike Lansford with Dills holding. And the kick, no good. It was off to the left. So the Rams, as Joe Klecko watches from the sideline, miss an opportunity off a Jet turnover to score again, and it remains 10-0 in favor of John Robinson's crew.
We're going to see pressure. The block is coming from the right side of the screen. Does this affect Lansford trying to maybe keep it away from the guy who's clear? Bobby Humphrey? I don't know. We'll never know, but he hooks it badly to the left.
So the Jets have a life, but they have not scored yet, and he'll go on.
5 guys to his right. This whole line is coming at him. Does that force him to kick the ball away from them? I don't know, but he hooked it to the left. It didn't help.
Jets first and 10 on the 20, and movement in the line, and penalty markers fly. Gordon King, the right tackle, an ex-New York Giant.
False start, 72 offense, 5-yard penalty.
It'll be interesting here, Dan, to see what the Jets do to try to get something going offensively. The Rams could not capitalize on the third turnover, and the Jets' top 2 receivers have only 1 catch between them. That's Al Toon. Schuler hasn't caught one today.
Yeah, you really have to wonder. Well, look at what happened. I think we've seen 3 penalties in the offensive line alone, false starts.
And they swing it out to Johnny Hector. And Hector to the 20-yard line, back to the original line of scrimmage, where Mel Owens makes the stop for the Rams. That's the time remaining in the third quarter. 10-0 Rams.
After what happened Monday night, when the guys have their hands on their knees in the huddle, it is human nature to question yourself. Right now, I think the Jets, offensively, are wondering what happened. Where has the magic gone?
Gary Jeter is in the game as a pass rusher for the Rams. O'Brien gets it to Mickey Schuler, and Schuler is tackled at the 26. That's Schuler's first reception of the day. It'll be third down with Eckern making the stop. AFC East, the Jets with a one-game lead over New England, and the Patriots have a golden opportunity to move into a first-place tie if the score remains the same here. But the Saints, as you see, lead in that game.
And I think New England is finding out something the Rams already know. That's how good New Orleans' defense is.
They lost 6-0 in the first meeting between the Rams and Saints. O'Brien completes it to Schuler. It'll be a first down for the Jets to the 34-yard line. Vince Newsom put the seal on.
Last time they ran that play to that side of the field, remember the throw was way high, and it was intercepted. Not this time. Schuler will take it sitting down. Kenny O'Brien has brought the ball down. Good for a first down.
Schuler coming off his lowest productivity of the season with only one catch against the Dolphins. He's caught 2 now. First and 10 at the Jet 34. And McNeil, who has 73 yards, doesn't get much and in fact loses a yard on the play. Mike Wilcher, Carl Eckern in on the play.
Mike Wilcher, who led the Rams a year ago with sack production from his linebacker position, had 11.5, and I think that says something about the talent on the defensive line when the linebacker leads in sacks.
Second and 10. Ball is deflected. And O'Brien was looking at Gary Jeter with the pass rush. Carl Eckern got a piece of that ball, and McNeil was the intended receiver.
Looked like the ball bounced off someone at the line of scrimmage, off of someone's shoulder or helmet. Let's see if... Let's take a close look at it. Who touched it? Jeter coming from the bottom with the rush. I don't know. It might have been Sean Miller, the nose guard. Tough to see from that angle, Dick.
Third and 10 at the 34. O'Brien. Intended for Toon, and Jerry Gray nearly picked off his second pass of the afternoon. And that wasn't even close.
No, it was way over Toon's shoulder, but it was right on the hands of Gray. Working Al Toon. The ball, though, is going to be back to the sidelines. No way he can react to it, but boy, right on the palms of Jerry Gray. Toon makes a reaction back to the middle of the field. Almost looked like O'Brien expected him to break to the sidelines.
Henry Ellard goes back for the Rams, and Dave Jennings to kick for the Jets. 4:38 remaining in the third quarter. The Rams lead it 10-0. Fine kick by Jennings. Fair catch, Ellard. At the 15-yard line. A 51-yard kick by Jennings. Third quarter, the Rams lead the Jets 10-0, and we've talked and chronicled the Jets' defensive problems. Due to injury, when you lose the likes of a Gastineau and a Mel, an outstanding linebacker, and of course Klecko and Marty Lyons, you don't have much to work with. But today, a different story.
As we see Joe Klecko on the sidelines, I think if you had to look at the Jet defense, those would be their 4 best players. I think when you take into consideration that they're out of the game today, I can't criticize the Jet defense at all. I think they're playing pretty darn well.
They've held the Rams to 210 yards. First and 10 at the 16. Everett to Ellard. Ellard gets a block, and Ellard will get a first down for the Rams. Out to the 27-yard line, Bob Crable on the stop. It's a 12-yard gain.
This is just a quick screen. Different teams have, everybody runs it. The key block is going to be by Dennis Hare, the right guard. He'll come right down the line of scrimmage, get the kick out. Ellard will then break to the inside. He's taught to wait for his lineman. We see Smith, the guard, and he cracks back. There's Dennis Hare. Going to get in there and put a hat on somebody else. Perennial Pro Bowl ball player out of Miami.
Ellard and Brown at the top of your screen. First and 10 Rams on their 28. And now Brown moves. Dickerson runs into Crable. Brings him down at the 29, a gain of 1. And a Jet player slow getting up is the man who hit Dickerson, Bob Crable. Scores from around the league. Kansas City is losing, and if Kansas City, Cleveland, and Cincinnati all lose and the Jets can come back and win, the Jets would clinch at least a wild card berth in the AFC playoff. 2nd and 9 at the 29. Everett. And he's got House. Kevin House, who caught the touchdown pass, the only TD of the game for 60 yards, grabs this for 17. Carter on the play.
How much of an arc does the ball take when you're throwing the long sideline out? Jim Everett does not take a great deal. It's a good crisp pattern by Kevin House. Russell Carter gave him a little bit too much room up front, but that takes a good arm to get it there on that trajectory. The kid's got a lot of talent. That's obvious for everyone. We'll see.
First down on the Ram 46. Dickerson. And 3 Jets were there to stop Dickerson at midfield and a gain of 4 yards. Kyle Clifton, Lester Lyles were in on the tackle. 86 yards on the day for Eric Dickerson, and the Jets, whose defensive unit, and you look at Humphrey and Stuckey there, must do something when they get the ball. They have been shut out so far after scoring only 3 points against Miami on Monday night. 2nd and 6 for Everett and the Rams at midfield. Dickerson into Jet territory to the 45-yard line. Close to a first down. Harry Hamilton on the stop.
One thing I like about Eric Dickerson is he's not afraid of the tough yardage. Reminds me a lot of Tony Dorsett in that way, that he's not afraid to lower the shoulder, take on 1 or 2 or even 3 tacklers. It's not always that trying to skip to the sidelines. How can I minimize contact? That's not Eric Dickerson.
Dickerson has 21 rushes, but he also is approaching 100 yards, and the Rams are 7-1 this year when Dickerson has gained 100 or more yards. Measure for the first down.
And they haven't lost when he's carried it 30 or more.
They're shy. So it'll be 3rd and short. Dick Stockton and Dan Deerdorf here at the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The Rams are leading the Jets 10-0, and a lot at stake for both teams. Rams with a 1.5 game lead over the 49ers in the NFC West, and Joe Walton's Jets trying to cling to a 1 game lead over the Patriots in the Eastern Division of the AFC.
You wonder if Joe Walton will roll the dice. John Robinson with a tough call to make here. 3rd and very short. You would assume the Jets are going to stack the line playing the run. Great time to throw it.
At the Jet 44, quarterback sneak, Everett, and he appears to have made it. Always a good call
when it works.
They'll unfold it.
Well, you know, the quarterback sneak is a little more formidable a weapon when you have a quarterback the size of Jim Everett.
6'5" Jim Everett gives the Rams another first down with 1.5 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter.
John Robinson yesterday said, well, for years and years and years, I said, you never need a tall quarterback. He said, that's because I only had short ones. I lied.
They're going to measure. The Jets called for another measurement, which is their right. And it was a lot closer than the preliminary call if they have the first down. This is interesting, and Dennis Hara comes to the line with Everett. It is a first down. Let's take a look now at the AFC West standings, where the Raiders are a game behind the Denver Broncos. The Raiders are a red-hot club, and coming up next, it'll be the Eagles trying to be the spoilers now that they're eliminated against the red-hot Raiders and Jim Plunkett. 1st and 10 Rams on the 44 of the Jets. Dickerson with a head of steam. And Dickerson close to another first down. Gang tackled at the 35. Charles Jackson, Tom Baldwin were in on it.
The blocking again at the point of attack is just very, very good. Eric Dickerson when you take the pitch that deep in the backfield, you can't have penetration. You can't have people in your face. You need the room, you need the space to see where you're going to go. That's something the Ram line does very, very well. They give them that room, that space.
Dickerson has 100 yards, and that's been good news history-wise for the Rams. 2nd and 1 at the 35. Again, Dickerson, he's hit and will lose on the play. And a fine defensive play by the Jets, who had an inkling it might go to Eric. Crable was right there.
Bob Crable is lined up to the outside. Let's clear it. This is Crable right here. This is not, forget this guy. He's out of the picture.
You buried him.
Bob Crable comes on the blitz into the backfield, hits Eric Dickerson. That's a nice thing about this little machine. I could just make him disappear.
Boy, you really ruined that other guy. I hope he gets to play the 4th quarter.
These things
here at the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Dick Stockton and Dan Deerdorf, and the Rams lead the Jets 10-0. And the Rams, to no one's surprise, after 56 yards rushing in the first half, have 78 in the 3rd quarter, and that's what you do when you have the lead. 3rd down and 2 for the Rams on the Jet 36. Everett on a design play and hits the tight end David Hill for a 1st down inside the 20. Hamilton on the tackle and an 18-yard pickup to the veteran tight end.
This is the pass off of the play that they've been running all day long. Right tackle pulls, right guard pulls. Dickerson goes that way. They've been running that for big yardage. There goes Jim Everett on the play pass. Watch how the Jet linebackers bite. You see them freeze. They approach the line of scrimmage. Look at them all over here. Look at this right here. Everybody bunched up. There goes Jim Everett all by himself.
1st and 10 at the 18. Dickerson in traffic. Back to the line of scrimmage. Crable and Clifton.
When you've been running that play as successfully as the Rams have, good call to set up the play pass off of it. It's not a new play. They've been using it all season long, and it seems that every time they've run it, it's been successful for them.
Rams have scored their points, coming off turnovers by the Jets. A couple of fumbles. Wesley Walker and Freeman McNeil coughed it up. 2nd and 10 at the 18 of the Jets. Everett hits Ellard, and Ellard has a 1st down at the 6-yard line, and Russell Carter made a touchdown-saving tackle.
Strictly a timing pattern. Russell Carter plays too much to the outside. He tries to grab a hold of Henry Ellard. Luckily, he got him by an ankle, or that's an easy touchdown. Russell Carter, that time, guilty of playing too much to the outside.
Russell Carter, who went to SMU and was a teammate of Eric Dickerson's. What did he tell us about facing Eric?
We said I never got to face him in college, and he was the #1 offense. I was the #1 defense. I'd like to give him one good shot. You ought to worry about Henry Ellard.
1st and goal at the 5. Here's Dickerson. Carter didn't get a chance there. And Elvis Franks brings Dickerson down at the 4-yard line. Franks, along with Jim Stuckey, have been late additions to the Jet defense with all of their injuries up front.
Jim Stuckey, it was very interesting, having played with the 49ers for so many years, was giving the Jets and their other defensive players kind of a rundown on the Ram offensive linemen, their techniques, where he thinks they're vulnerable. Doesn't appear to have done a whole lot of good.
2nd and goal at the 4. Dickerson changes direction, and he'll go in easily for the touchdown. A piece of cake for Dickerson and the Rams. And it's 16-0 in favor of the Rams, and more pressure for the Jets. The 55th career touchdown for Eric Dickerson ties him with Elroy Hirsch for the all-time Rams record. Dills will hold for Lansford, who will attempt the 17th point. the kick is perfect. 17-0, the Rams.
Let's just take a look. The left guard, Tom Newberry, is going to pull a design play all the way. Just watch how the Jets overreact when Dickerson breaks back. There's nobody left. Somebody has to stay at home. Someone has to honor the cutback. We see Clifton. We see Crable. Right there. Russell Carter. He's the backside corner. He dives and misses. And right now, there's not a New York Jet within 15 yards of Eric Dickerson.
And we'll return to the New Jersey Meadowlands, where the score is right in the fourth quarter, and the Rams have built a 17-0 lead over the Jets. Mike Lansford will be kicking off. Bobby Humphrey and JoJo Townsend are waiting for the Jets. And it's Townsend at the 4, to the 10, and upended at the 17, and a penalty marker is down. A penalty flag down. Well, this is something interesting as we take a look at that Ram touchdown, Dan.
It's tough to stop Eric Dickerson with 11, but when you only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the Jets only have 10 people on the field. Look at them waving to the sidelines, trying to get the 11th guy on the field. They realize it in the secondary that they're short, and you have to assume the 11th Jet would be lined up to this side of the football field. Eric Dickerson, boy, it's easy to do when there's only 10 of them out there. There's the missing player. See him hung up?
That's Stuckey. Meanwhile, first down for the Jets, and Wesley Walker has the reception at the 24-yard line, and a first down for the Jets. Jerry Gray on the tackle, and a gain of 15.
What a great shot we had of Jim Stuckey over on the sideline. He's being caught in no man's land. He wasn't sure whether they wanted to be in their 3-man or 4-man line setup.
First and 10 at the 24. Play action for O'Brien. Under pressure. And throws it away. Incomplete. Let's count them again, Dan.
Well, let's take a look. We've got the 10 guys right here, but here's Jim Stuckey over on the sidelines. Watch him. He doesn't know whether he should be in, whether he should be out. He's looking for some... Oh, that's frustrating. That's frustrating. Jim Stuckey, new to the team, had played previously in his career with the 49ers, and of course a new concept this week. Normally a 3-man front. Stuckey's been the 4th lineman. Easy to see how he could be turned around.
7 quarters since the Jets have scored a touchdown. Second and 10 at the 24. O'Brien. By Al Toon, and the crowd yells Toon after he grabs one. Making the stop was Leroy Irvin, shy of a first down by 2 yards. And now New England has taken the lead over the Saints. Eason to Stephen Starring, and it's 7-3 New England. And if the Jets go on and lose and the Patriots win, there'll be a flat-footed tie for first in the AFC East. 3rd and 1 at the 33. Toon, by the way, just went over 1,000 yards receiving for the season. First Jet receiver since Wesley Walker in 1978. O'Brien. Hector couldn't hold on and was hit from behind. Mike Wilcher.
You know, credit the Rams for playing some really sound defense, but Ken O'Brien today is not having a good day throwing the football. His throws have been high, they've been low, that time behind Hector. The previous time he completed one to Toon, but Toon had to go way up in the air to get it. That limits what he can do after he makes a catch. I don't know if the wind conditions on the field are such that the ball is floating and diving, but Ken O'Brien, I don't think, is having a real great day passing, Dick.
It is 4th and 1, and the Jets going for it, trailing 17-0. Freeman McNeil on the pitch. And McNeil may not have it. It's awfully close. The Rams feel he was stopped. It was Mark Giroux who came in, and look at Joe Walton's reaction. They've got a measure in any event, I would think. But the Rams are awfully emphatic in the feeling that their defense held on 4th and 1.
Well, the Ram offense is walking off as well.
They've just announced that Al Toon went over 1,000 yards, and they're short. And the Rams have taken over offensively. So the defense of the Rams the story of this game at this point, and also the Rams taking advantage of early Jet mistakes.
The Rams defensively are just playing a sensational football team. They may be the most basic defensive team in the game. They're not fancy. They sit in the same front most of the time. They don't blitz a whole lot. Their coverages are very, very simple. They take few chances. The Jets told us on Friday it's just what they do so very well.
Rams in the Jet 33, 1st and 10, leading 17-0. Dickerson. Ben Rudolph defending on the play. Dickerson picks up a few. How urgent is this game and the rest of the schedule for the Jets is reflected in the fact that the Jets feel that they must win the division outright. And the reason for that is that if the Jets end up tied with New England at the end of the year, and New England beats the Miami Dolphins, the Patriots, by virtue of a better division record, would get the nod as the AFC East champion.
Well, that's because they split in their head-to-head competition. That's the first tiebreaker. The second tiebreaker is that division record, and that's where the edge would indeed go to the Patriots. And I don't think the Jets aren't well aware of that.
Atlanta-Miami also later today. Miami has an outside but long shot chance. Dickerson, not much. And there's a lot of time remaining in this game with 10 minutes and now 15 seconds. Bob Crable and Rusty Gilbo on the stop. But the time means nothing if the Ram defense continues to stifle the Jets' attack. NFC West, and the 49ers will play the Giants in a tough game at Candlestick Park Monday night. The Rams will breathe easier if they can hold on and win this game. And the two teams still play each other before the end of the season on December 19th in San Francisco. 3rd and 9. Everett on a blitz gets rid of it, and Ellard stopped his pass route. Lester Lyles came storming in for the Jets.
That was an all-out team blitz by the Jets. All three inside people came, and Ellard, for some reason, just came to a dead stop. I don't know if he thought that Everett had been sacked or what, but he just ran 15 yards and came to a screeching halt.
Mike Lansford will try a 50-yard field goal. He's kicked one from 38 and missed from 29. It's a low kick, and it hits the crossbar. No good. Bounces out. So Lansford, 1 for 3 on the day, and the Jets will take over offensively, 1st and 10. In the 4th quarter, the Jets failed to make it on 4th and 1 last time, held off the Rams, and now they have the ball again, 1st and 10 on their own 33. O'Brien, downfield, Toon, and Altoon with an extra 5 yards, and a 1st down in Ram territory to the 39-yard line.
When Kenny O'Brien is shaken up, he got up holding his right arm. You can see him walking stiffly downfield. Let's take a look at Altoon working on Leroy Irvin. Irvin makes his break before Toon. He thought Toon had committed to run a fly pattern. Al broke back to the inside, and I don't know that there's a better receiver in the game after the catch right now than Altoon.
1st and 10 at the 38-yard line. Freeman McNeil, head down. Gets to the 34-yard line. It was Reggie Doss who hit O'Brien on this play.
Doss, 71, comes in from the backside, and you can see that Kenny landed on his right arm and his right shoulder after the hit by Reggie Doss. He came back, though, and made a good, accurate pass to Freeman McNeil last play.
2nd and 6 at the Ram 34. O'Brien looks one way, hits Schuler, and his forward progress got to the 30-yard line, where Mel Owens and Carl Edgar made the stop, short of a 1st down by a good 2 yards.
And the Rams are in a position now where they're just rushing 3 guys, dropping back into an 8-deep zone, and they're willing to give the Jets all those short completions to Schuler and McNeil that they'd like to get. They're willing to come up, make the tackle, keep them in bounds, and keep the clock running, which it is right now.
And the Rams don't mind this. John Robinson says we don't want to give up the long, easy touchdown pass. 3rd and 2 at the 30. O'Brien has McNeil. McNeil first down. And Leroy Irvin pushes him out of bounds at the 18.
Let's take a look at the Rams. They're only going to send these 3 linemen upfield. Everyone else is going to drop back into a deep zone. The Jets are doing a good job of working underneath it. Only the 3 linemen on the rush, the screen to the left side. The Rams come up. A good block out in front that time by Bingham from McNeil.
1st and 10 at the 17. 7:32 on the clock, 4th quarter. O'Brien. And inside to Al Toon, inside the 5, and another Jet first down.
Well, he's been dormant until this drive, but Al Toon, Kenny O'Brien starting to make connections. Again, he's working on Leroy Irvin. Just a simple post pattern, Irvin giving up a lot of ground. If the Jets get in the end zone here, they're very much in it.
4 receptions on the day for Toon. That's where the ball is. 1st and goal at the 4. And Freeman McNeil. And the Rams are awfully tough at that end of the field. Eckers and Giroux defending.
They'll try to get in and out of the huddle in a hurry. You're 3 scores away from a tie. You can't waste much time in the huddle.
17-0 Rams. 2nd and 3. O'Brien. Pass thrown behind Al Toon, the intended receiver. Jerry Gray defending. Ken O'Brien, maybe the first quarterback drafted on the 1st round in modern times who did not get a scholarship to college. He started his college career at Sacramento State and transferred to Cal State Davis. What a year he's having.
Played in the same state as John Elway in California. John Elway had never heard his name until draft day.
They know it now. Johnny Hector is in the lineup replacing McNeil on 3rd and 3. 3rd and goal. O'Brien. And it's deflected. Toon was open, but the pass was tipped. Back, both wide receivers for the Jets were open.
This is Wesley Walker. Jerry Gray, number 25. What kind of a move? Wesley goes to the outside. Gray lets him go when he sees the throw back to the inside. Wesley goes, what do I have to do?
Joe Walton is electing to go for the first points on the board for the Jets, and that's how tough it's been for them.
You have to have 3 scores.
Right.
He's going to need a field goal to even tie it up. He's got to go for it sooner or later.
Pat Leahy with a 20-yard attempt. Pat Ryan is holding.
Too much time.
And that shouldn't bother Leahy too much. You bring out a good point, Dan. You've got to get something. You can't just say the 7 right away. They need some points, and they're going to need 2 touchdowns and a field goal at least.
I think he saw Wesley Walker in the corner of the end zone. As we get the delay call, and this will move it back 5 yards. We'll assume it will be Vinny Testaverde. We'll find out for sure. 5:30 Eastern next Saturday right here on CBS.
Jim Everett bringing out the Rams with 6:08 to go.
I don't think they'll run the ball here, Dick, do you?
No. Your name isn't Dan Deardorff. Eric Dickerson fights his way back to the line of scrimmage. Let's take a look at the scores now as the Rams try to use up the clock. The Redskins lead the Cardinals. They can clinch a wild card berth at least with a win over St. Louis.
And St. Louis sandwiched right in between the Dallas game and the Giant game. You had to worry about that, and can you believe that?
The Chicago Bears playing without Jim McMahon. They could have clinched if they won or the Vikings lost, but the Steelers lead the Bears 10-3. Cleveland beating Houston 7-3. They're tied with Cincinnati. They play later against Denver. Buffalo leading Kansas City in the third quarter. Minnesota winning. So the Bears are not going to clinch their division if things hold. Dickerson to the 39-yard line, not much, but the clock continues to run. It was Lester Lyles and Elvis Franks on the play. New Orleans on Reuben Mays, 5-yard touchdown run, regains the lead over the Patriots, who have to be really gnashing their teeth knowing that they could move into a tie if they were to beat the Saints.
Well, I think we're all beginning to discover something, and that's the days of underestimating the New Orleans Saints may be long gone. Jim Finks, the general manager, Jim Mora, the new head coach in New Orleans, 6-6 going into today. You know, the Saints are no longer laughing, no matter a laughing stock team.
Well, we felt they were good all the way.
I agree completely.
3rd and 8 at the 40, and Dickerson is tripped up. And it'll be 4th down. Kyle Clifton makes the stop on Dickerson, who's gone over 100 yards again today.
There's a situation where you wonder if someone other than Jim Everett in his second start is playing quarterback, if the Rams wouldn't have put the football in the air. That run fooled no one. The Jets get another chance.
Dale Hatcher will kick. Kurt Sohn goes back for the Jets with 4:07 on the clock. They've really got to make some things happen in a hurry. 5 on the clock. They'll get it off. Good kick. Sohn at the 20. And out of bounds is Kurt Sohn at the 25 by Vince Newsom. Timeout with 3:49 remaining in that game at the Superdome, 13-7. The Saints lead the Patriots, who have a golden opportunity, and they're letting it slip by. Jets are not done yet. 1st and 10 on the 25. O'Brien goes very deep, overthrowing Wesley Walker. Leroy Irvin was covering. And the Rams have to be doing some tremendous coverage of the Jet receivers today.
Which I think they've been doing all day long. I think we've got to talk about people like Leroy Irvin, Johnny Johnson, Newsom, Nolan Cromwell, Jerry Gray. These guys have played just an outstanding football game. I wasn't a defensive back, but I can think of few teams that I'd rather play than people like Mickey Schuler, Al Toon, Wesley Walker. Great talent, and they've been throttled today by the Rams.
2nd and 10. And there's the tight end, Schuler, to the 35, close to a 1st down. And the Jets lining up without a huddle. And they're not even going to measure. It'll be 2nd down and less than 1 with 3:23. Hector out of the backfield has the 1st down to the Jet 42-yard line. Mike Wilcher on the tackle. And now O'Brien wants to get a timeout, it appears. And the Jets call one. So the Jets call their first timeout of the second half. The Rams had called one earlier. They have 2 remaining as O'Brien talks things over with Joe Roll. Clock running under 3 minutes to go. Keep in mind, the Jets need 2 scores, 2 touchdowns to tie. Schuler again in a 1st down to the Ram 41. Gain of 10 on that play. O'Brien barks this play.
But that deep zone is taking Toon and Walker away from striking a big one. The Rams are very content to let Schuler catch it underneath 5-6 yards at a time.
O'Brien up the middle. And again, Mickey Schuler, who gives the ball to the official, and the Jets are ready for the next play, and a gain of 8. Second and 2. O'Brien this time finds Freeman McNeil for another 1st down at the 22-yard line. Mike Wilcher on the play, and the 2-minute warning has come upon us. The Jets need 2 touchdowns to tie. They trail 17-3. They're threatening 22. O'Brien trying to thread the needle, and he completes the pass to Schuler inside the 15, and the Jets are ready for more.
Mickey Schuler might set a record for most catches on one drive.
Toon in motion. 2nd and 1. O'Brien was going for Schuler again, but not that time, and defending was Johnny Johnson and Nolan Cromwell.
Al Toon moves to the inside in motion. Mickey Schuler breaks to the outside. Feather steps at about the 5 and then just angles into the end zone. Led by about a yard too much.
A Ram victory would put pressure on the 49ers, who trail by a half a game. They entertain the Giants tomorrow night. 3rd down and 1. O'Brien, nowhere to go. Dumps it off to Hector. And Hector is tackled at the 5 by Carl Edgar. And the Jets call a timeout. It is a 1st down for the Jets. 1:27 of time. O'Brien 15 of 21 in the 2nd half and overthrows Schuler. And there were other players who were open for the Jets, and O'Brien didn't go that way.
After about 7 times in a row of coming with only 3, they have 4 defensive linemen in here, and we're going to see the double blitz as well. Kenny O'Brien has to throw the ball from back on his heels. That's the key to that play. The Rams mixed it up. After only a 3-man rush, that time they came with 7.
2nd and goal on the 5. They're off his feet. No good. It was trapped by Schuler. Schuler trapped the ball. He's claiming otherwise, but the official was right there, and it goes incomplete.
And we've got a player down on the field, but we'll take a look at Mickey Schuler. From our vantage point, it looked like the ball clearly hit the field.
It did.
Oh, all the way. No way is that a catch.
Johnny Hector was the Jets shaken up, and he is on his feet.
Well, we've seen a lot of batted balls today being caught by other people. And by Johnny Hector getting hurt right there, that cost the New York Jets a timeout. That will be a charged timeout.
And the last timeout, they have 1 left. The Jets do have 1 timeout left. Or was that their last one? That was their last one. The Jets do not have another timeout. 1:18 on the clock, and I don't think the Rams care what the Jets do as long as they don't get into the end zone and the clock continues to run. And right now, the Rams in command on their way to their 9th win of the year. Our coordinating producer of the NFL, know what happens in that situation. The Rams have taken command in this one.
Keep in mind that big goose egg behind the timeout. That's going to help.
3rd and 5. O'Brien's pass incomplete. Al Toon was the closest to it, and Joe Walton shows his frustration. It'll be 4th and 5 with 1:14 on the clock.
As we come down to a 4th down play, now the Rams are confused as to how many people they have on the field and who's playing what.
On 4th down, Ken O'Brien. Blitz, it's tipped, and it's intercepted by the Rams. Mike Wilcher in the end zone, and John Robinson and the Rams can go back to California with a win in their pockets over the Jets. The 4th turnover of the game.
And again, I cannot say enough about the quality of the coverage by the Los Angeles Rams. Ken O'Brien in the pocket, even though he's moving there, it was after 4 or 5 seconds. He sees Mickey Schuler, but from underneath, Mike Wilcher batted it, caught it, and sealed it for the Los Angeles Rams.
2 fumble recoveries that resulted in scores, 2 interceptions, one by Jerry Gray, the other by Mike Wilcher, and the Rams 17-3, and the crowd now leaving in droves here at the Meadowlands. And Everett will just use up the time with no timeouts remaining, and the Jets now will have gone 8 quarters without a touchdown after being one of the highest scoring teams in the NFL.
And that's the question that every Jet fan is going to be asking themselves on the way out of this stadium. What has happened to this high-powered offense? Today, though, I've got to give the Rams credit. I don't know that the Jets played a bad football game. It's just this is one of the best defensive efforts you're ever going to see by the Rams today. Excellent, excellent football game.
Rams with a 1.5 game lead over the 49ers coming in. And now the 49ers must beat the Giants to stay within a half a game. The Jets will be looking at the scoreboard to see what the Patriots and Saints do. The last report was that the Saints were leading. But for John Robinson, a big victory. And for Joe Walton, some problems. 10-3 on the year for the Jets. The Rams go to 9-4. So let's take a look at the standings as the game ends. The Jets are 10-3. The Patriots are 9-3, but losing to the New Orleans Saints in the fourth quarter, 13-7. And in the NFC West, the victory by the Rams gives them a 9-4 record. And the 49ers play the Giants tomorrow. Brent Musburger will have more up-to-date on the scores on our post-game show. With Dan Deerdorf, this is Dick Stockton saying so long as the Rams beat the Jets 17-3. All right, Brent, thank you very much. The Rams winning 17-3, and they're 8-1 this year when that man, Eric Dickerson, has gone over 100 yards, 107 on the day, Eric. The defense was outstanding. Tell us about the offensive game plan.
Well, our offensive game plan really was to try to mix it up a little bit. We want to throw some short passes and some long passes today.